Paula Bonner joined the UW-Madison Department of Athletics in 1976 while earning her master's degree in education. She joined the Wisconsin Alumni Association in 1989 and retired last June as the president of the Wisconsin Alumni Association and the chief alumni officer for the Wisconsin Foundation and Alumni Association. She's going to tell us today about the Wisconsin Alumni Association's Alumni Park. I, for one, can say I spent many Friday nights at the terrace last summer, watching with great interest the progress of the Alumni Park. Maybe Deb Archer was there too, Victor, a few other people. We look forward to your presentation, Paula, and we have made a contribution to the Rotary International Polio Plus Fund as a way of saying thanks to speaking to us today. As we welcome Paula to the podium, I want to remind you, if time permits, which it should, for questions, please use one of the audience microphones because our program is being recorded. Paula?
Thank you very, very much, Jason, and it is wonderful being with you all. I hope you will get comfortable so you can see one of the two screens so that you can see some of the images and some of the story that pictures will tell along with my comments. I just really want to thank Downtown Rotary for the opportunity to be here. Got a call from Roberta Gassman, I don't know, several months ago, and I said, "Are you sure?" And she said, yeah, come on. And so I'm crawling out of my retirement rock to give a talk today. I hope I still know how to do it. I still have a closet full of red. There's no, that will never cease to exist. I'm also delighted and want to thank Mary Carbine, who was introduced earlier. But Mary's our managing director for Alumni Park and Alumni Place, and she is doing a tremendous job opening that place up, and I appreciate all that she's done, and she will also help in answering any questions. So I'll share a little bit about this story. It worked me so hard I had to retire when it opened. God, it took a long time, but it was great, and we are really delighted with it. I think for me, and the committee and all the volunteers that worked on it, to be at the juxtaposition and that edge of campus and the city of Madison and bring this great town and gown relationship even closer together. This great historical partnership we've had is great. And the park then becomes, along with the renovations at the Union, just a beautiful new lakefront gateway. And of course, its intention is to welcome students and alumni and faculty and community and all of you. And if you haven't been through there, I hope you're inspired enough after today to take a stroll this weekend. It's a place that we believe can create new traditions as well as celebrating old traditions. And of course, as we worked on this over the last 9 years, during times where at times education is put down and higher ed is kind of beaten up, we felt like it was very appropriate to create a space that inspired people around the impact of education, the impact of our alumni, and their stories, not only for the state of Wisconsin, but also truly for around the world. And of course, in doing that, you are living the Wisconsin idea and all that is great about the university. I will say, as I listen to Rotary's truths and the goals and projects of the foundation and the International Foundation, there's like talking the same language just about between what we think about for the Wisconsin idea and all that Rotary stands for. Well, finally, we were able to open that park. Thank you for the beers you drank at the Union Terrace to pull us through that, Jason. So we opened it on October 6th, 2017. We had some rain, but we were really happy to welcome over 1,200 alumni and students and community. How many of you were able to join us that night? Okay, a few. And how many of you have had a chance to walk through and explore Alumni Park? All right, good, you get an A. This is wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. And now it's really great to be here today, May 2nd, because I do think spring has finally arrived, and we are very excited to experience the first real summer season after a successful fall opening. This only took since 1895 to open it in 2017. That we think the Monona Terrace took a long time to realize. This really took a long time. It was a long-held dream to have this green space right down in that particular location. And it was the culmination of the work of campus colleagues, alumni, the community. There's a guy who walked in today who had a heck of a lot to help me till the ground at the very beginning, Alan Fish, who was Associate Vice Chancellor at that point. It was good to see him. And it's a gift from the university, from the alumni, and donations of over 4,000 alumni and friends. And this whole project was launched in 2009 in anticipation of the 150th anniversary of the Wisconsin Alumni Association. And it started as a simple idea of like maybe a single sculpture on Library Mall, a monument somewhere on campus. And somehow, as we went out and talked to alumni, that just wasn't enough. And it wasn't enough for me and the board of directors and a lot of other people. And it just grew into a larger and larger collaboration and into something much better, bigger and greater. And as you know, many of you have worked in significant projects around this city and other areas of the country and world. A bigger vision takes a longer time. And as that vision grew, we also realized we had the opportunity to help complete the campus's 2005 master plan, which ran that East Campus pedestrian mall from Regent Street all the way through to the lake, Kohl Center to Lake Mendota area, and a seamless destination with the Union and its terrace and a rejuvenated, restored lakefront. So it was very exciting. Let's take a look at what it used to look like there. And the photo's a little dark, but let me tell you, it's kind of dark in there anyway. It was dark old broken up asphalt with a lot of potholes. And then down in the corner, the Union had to have its loading dock and all of its garbage. And so you had a familiar smell. As you used to go get your broad and your beer, it was like, yeah. And so it started feeling like the reverse of that Joni Mitchell song. Remember the Joni Mitchell song? It says, tear down a park and put up a parking lot. So we were going out fundraising, and I would sing, which I won't do today because I'm not that good a singer. But we'd sing to potential donors, tear down a parking lot and put up a park. And that proved to be a winning line for the project. And so now here's what greets visitors to the East Campus and the Library Mall area, looking out to the lake. And once again, you see that coming together of campus and downtown. And this overhead view showing Langdon Street to the right and the connection to the left. The park is built on top of an amazing project, which occurred with all of this energy that developed, which is an underground loading dock, and benefits of a wonderful donor, the John and Tasha Morgridge. And so that drove all of the loading downstairs. It was a great benefit and is a great benefit to the Union. And then it allowed us to truly expand what we could create for the park. And our partnership with the Union has just exploded over these last years. The Alumni Center was built in '67, and so in May of 2017, it had its 50th anniversary. But ever since I got there in 1989, it has bugged me to death when there would be 4,000 or 5,000 students and alumni on the Union Terrace on a Sunday night or any night of the day in good weather. And we would be over here in the dark at 650 North Lake Street. And so by darn, with this project, we reflipped the entrance and created one alumni place. And it's illustrative of our goal of being elevating the role of alumni in the life of the institution, and also to really connect with our students much, much earlier on. And so now we have this new campus green space. We put in about 75 trees, 50 shade trees, native oaks and birch. We had a net gain of 33 trees in the area. We have over 7,000 individual plants, many native species, and a lot of improved shoreline. But then, of course, as that developed, that's when we thought we've just got to have an alumni center, a welcome space, that visibility that we wanted for students. And there we see one alumni place. Here we go. And many here have helped to make that particular project happen. And then the first thing we got to accomplish was the Goodspeed family pier. And that was very well received by the community. It was the first public pier access on the north side or on the south side of the lake. And boaters have really appreciated that, and that will be opening up again this May 15th. Along with telling the story through the exhibits and the land and that kind of thing, we felt like we wanted to be able to tell a deeper dive. You can only do so much through the exhibits. So I just call your attention to our alumnipark.com, really set up to operate on a smartphone. If you use it as you're walking through the park, it's also our way of extending through social media and the website and the stories, helping us tell the story, connecting alumni around the world back to the park. I hope you'll sign up for that email list, and obviously today we're all using social media. But what really made the park unique was the 50 museum quality exhibits. Exhibits that feature alumni voices, alumni stories. 123 alumni are recognized about traditions and innovations, and it's a welcoming space to show the contributions of our alumni from around the world. It's really a marriage of landscape engineering, artistry. We had an incredible team of professionals and volunteers who had tremendous leadership and expertise in these areas. Some of them have begun receiving awards for the project. Congratulate Myron Construction and Smith Group JJR. Bill, I think Bill Hates out there, in Business Magazine, recognized the project as one of the projects of the year. The tough part that took a lot of time and thought was, there are over 425,000 alumni, so how the heck do you decide who's in the first iteration of the park and the contents and exhibits? And that was a 2-year process. We wanted to really feature a mosaic of alumni, diverse range of scientists and artists and poets and entrepreneurs and engineers and leaders. And Scott Resnick out here is one of the featured younger alums in the park. He's also on edge because his wife is expecting any moment. So, Scott, I really appreciate you showing up here today. From iconic alumni to a lot of lesser-known alumni, from those who are deceased to young, powerful grads today, everybody can, I hope, as you walk through the park, find something that speaks to you yourself, whether it's through what your accomplishment was, your background as an alum, that there's something that you see something of yourself as you go through the park. One of our great fun sub-projects among many was working with Harley Davidson, because William Harley was a 1908 graduate of the university, and we wanted to acknowledge him in the park. And the motorcycle that's there, in the sculpture, we call those tributes, that's a 1936 Harley. It is the Harley that tripped the trigger for the Harley-Davidson company in terms of their success, both in its design and in its mechanical motor engine construction. And it was great fun working with Harley on that project. And certainly they have quite the brand for the state of Wisconsin. So let's take a brief walk through the park. Coming in off Langdon here, you'll see the fountain with the glowing crest in the center of it. That was carved from a 50,000-pound block of Cold Spring granite up in Minnesota. We got that piece. The Badger Pride Wall is one of my very favorite elements in the park, an 80-foot corten steel exhibit, and they're icons like the band member with their hat on backwards, and lots of other kind of symbols and icons for UW that not everybody would know about. That would be more where the alumni can go by and they go, oh, I know what that is. And there's the Lady Liberty on the ice and all of that. This was designed, the elements were designed by Nate Kohler, who is a Madison artist. And it was made up in Green Bay at the American Custom Fabrication Company. And one of the joys for me was going around the state and working with so many talented small businesses, fabrication, small manufacturing companies, and it helped me understand the history that the state tradition has in that manufacturing industry. So that was very good. Our Alumni Way exhibit has 5 panels, and it really strives to focus in on the key elements of the Wisconsin idea: service, discovery, tradition, leadership, and progress. And I felt that those ended up being very timely. That also included committee work. The top portion of Alumni Way is in limestone, quarried from Valders, Wisconsin. So one day I went up with a group of people and I picked out a big rock. We went rock shopping in February, and I swear to God, it was like 5 below zero. I mean, it was really cold. It was really cold. Some women go shopping for rocks and it's diamonds. I went shopping for limestone quarry, Anyway, the carving was done by a Madison company, Cora Stone. Jim Durham is their president. They have an international reputation, high-tech robotics, and he has pulled into Madison European hand carving masters. And so they do a combination of that work. And out of that comes the whole Alumni Way. This was the first piece we did, was testing the carving of Charles Van Hise and how you get that beard and how you get those eyes to look just right. And just a marvelous opportunity to work with them on that project. Other exhibits explore some of the areas of great long-term achievement for the University of Wisconsin, its faculty, its research, the alumni who've gone out in these areas of distinction, such as government and social policy, that's the one shown here, arts and humanities, computers and technology, food and nutrition. And part of that constant pushing the boundaries and challenging the status quo in these major areas of work that have been part of the university's DNA for a long time. And of course, we couldn't have a UW theme park without Bucky Badger. And we were very fortunate to do a search for a really well-renowned national and international sculptor, Dow Bloomberg, and he really got it. What we were looking for is bronze and stainless steel, it's mosaic glass, it's lit at night from within. It's really become a fabulous spot for photos. In the middle of winter, I'd walk by sometimes and it'd be freezing with that northwest cold wind cutting you in half, and there'd be a family there taking a picture. Well, these are good things for memories for those children, that family, and for the university. And by the way, this Bucky's going to be joined by about 85 more on May 7th with the huge Bucky rollout from Convention and Visitors Bureau. So we've been really thankful and inspired to get great community support for this. Channel 3 and Neil Heinen, very supportive in their comments on the park. I was particularly delighted to read some comments from Dan Flannery, who's executive director of the Appleton Crescent, former editor, I mean. And his words remind us that our ideals are to challenge the status quo, to push boundaries, as I said, and for each person to make an impact on the greater common good. Like I said earlier, replicating and sharing the values that I hear here at Rotary. And of course, the opening was just the beginning. The park is being enjoyed. It's a place for experiences, for programs and events such as this fall public policy panel in one alumni place with Tommy Loftus and Tom Loftus and Tommy Thompson. And Winter Carnival had a great turnout of younger alums with their families. Reading the story there is my successor, Sarah Shute, taking off and doing a great job. We're very excited now that we get to have our first commencement, and all of those grads can't wait to see all the activity with parents and graduates' gowns. So far, we've already had over 21,000 visitors to the park from October through April, and there's some pretty dreary months in between October and April. And they've conducted, Mary and her team have conducted over 70 programs and activities. So we hope you'll come out and join us this spring, explore the park and its exhibits, play with us, maybe take one of the drop-in independent yoga activities that are going to happen on the central lawn. I'm going to come out there and be a joke at the yoga thing. I'll play the comedy routine. We're going to be involved in Make Music Madison, and of course, you can always keep up through alumnipark.com. But hopefully, we have just started to move the programming and the involvement and the engagement of the citizens in the community and the state. One of my dreams was always that all those kids and parents who come in for wrestling from all parts of the states of Wisconsin the state boys basketball tournament would roam around in there and bump into this content and these ideas and these people and say, wow, I didn't know the UW did all of that. Maybe I want to come here. It's going to be part of the admissions tour and SOAR. And so it had some really deep, important goals and purposes and intent as we worked on this for so many years. And it's also playful and fun and a place to look at the water and also to celebrate all that we have here in this great city, this great university, and this great state. So thank you. Thank you very much. We're happy to take any questions you may have. Okay. Any questions? Nancy? Do you have a mic?
We do. This was a great talk. It's so much fun to hear you all the time. I have a question about, the icons that you were pointing out, the wall.
Badger Pride wall.
Yeah. I'm wondering what they did with Abe Lincoln from Baskin Hill. The story about what happens to Abe if a virgin walks by. I wondered if he'd be falling down on the icon.
Well, on the wall, he's still sitting in his seat. But I think somebody glued him down there. There can't be many virgins walking by him. Anyway, I digress. Sorry. Yes, Ron?
Yes, not a question, but a comment. Just like to recognize Kelly DeHaven. She couldn't be here today, but Kelly did a tremendous amount of work over several years to help you and others.
Kelly was my partner in arms on all of the development and fundraising, and she's just terrific, and we did have a lot of fun singing that Joni Mitchell song together as well. But Kelly's a wonderful person and did a great job. I see somebody back there. Hi, Mary.
Hi, Paula. I just want to thank you and your team for making one of my dreams come true after a long, long time, and remind everyone that the land on which Alumni Park sits was a gift from the old Y to the university with the provision that it would always be green space. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Mary. Thank you, Mary. And as we also recognize, the land was also that of the Ho-Chunk Nation before anything else. And the night of the opening, we gave a thank you and a blessing to the Ho-Chunk Nation as well, to recognize that sacred land for them as well. Anything else? Joan? Hang on. She's right behind you.
Okay.
Yes.
Who came up with the idea to make Bucky a thinking Bucky? Was that a committee or the artist, or who came up with that?
That was the artist creation. Dal spent a lot of time walking around campus, sitting on the terrace, listening to hearing conversations, and he got struck with the idea of how to put together this sense of each student's contemplation of their future and where they were in their life and what they intended to do, and still imbue him with that kind of whimsical smile and that, his feet are like this big, these big red things. He was perfect, because I was really worried that this might end up looking like some kind of McDonald's cartoon character. And that was not at all where I or the committee wanted it to be. We wanted it to be a real representation that had Bucky representing all of us and beyond sports. But Bucky is now at weddings and hospitals and reading books for kids, and just an integral part of our DNA. And we wanted that to hit the right tone. And we were very lucky. We had a great sculptor. Donna.
Just wanted to share that on June 20th, we all have an opportunity to visit various workplaces at Rotary. One of the options will be to go get a guided tour of all of Alumni Park.
Pack the house. Pack the house. There's a rooftop deck on Alumni Park, which looks out at the lake. Mary, let's get a lot of food and beverages up there. Let's make it impossible to not come to Alumni Park. I'm not below bribes, ever. So, anything else? This has been delightful. I appreciate all that you do. There are many people in this room who've helped make this project possible and contributed to it financially or through other levels. I see the mic out of my peripheral vision. Miss Roberta. Bert Badger.
Badger Bert, that's
Badger
right.
Bert. Sorry.
Just to thank you, Paula, for an extraordinary career, for coming out of retirement to be here today, but for being a remarkable cheerleader for this very important, iconic park. Thank you.
Thank you, Roberta. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Paula. And I can't say enough how that Bucky statue is a great place to stage a family photo. We are adjourned.